gratitude. On that 400 trillion to one thing, I'm grateful. Straight up, like I don't know what to say. Like you might have not been born, right? Like your dad could have been late to the apartment that day. On some real shit. Like I don't think people contextualize perspective. Like what? Like you're alive. Like you're alive. You could have been a tree. You could have been right? Like this is cool. Like life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. It's cool to have one. Life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. That's number one. One of the biggest things for me is being the bigger person. I hate conflict. Ironically, like I'm a tough guy when I've been like nobody else can talk, but in real life, I like happiness and vibes and like I've eaten shit my whole life. Kids stole hundreds of thousands of dollars from me in the liquor store. Like I found a way for him not to go to jail for a long time. Like, like just being the bigger person has been a core principle of mine. Not valuing money over family and like happiness has been huge. Fuck money. Like really. Fuck money. You cannot care about money more when you don't care about what people think about your money. Life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. It's cool to have one. Life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. That's number one. Patience. Holy shit, I'm gonna live 4 more full lives. And no matter how crazy what I think about right now is, and like what I want to accomplish on or off the field, I got 4 fucking lives to do it. You guys know Grey Goose? The guy who invented that as an entrepreneur invented it at 78. 78 years old. That's life. Like you could do everything wrong, have every dream you've ever had fucked up, blame it on other people, the girl fucked it up, that injury fucked it up, coach fucked it up, blame everybody, have everything go wrong, be 57 years old, and still have fucking 40 years to make it right. It's crazy, honestly. Like if there was some crazy new drug that I could like inject in you that gave you perspective of time, that's the drug I would give you. Straight up. Life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. It's cool to have one. Life is good. This is cool. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. That's number one. Life is good. Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. It's cool to have one. Life is good. Life is good. This is cool. Like it's cool to have one. That's number one. It makes you optimistic. People are sitting here dwelling already. Dwelling already. Fuck, I shouldn't have come to Rutgers. Fucking knew it. Of course there's people thinking that. Like that's just real life. Dwelling already, haven't even fucking started. Man, that's what I want to change.
Life is good. Like it's cool to have one. Yeah. Life is good.
Life is good.
Life is good.
This is cool.
Like it's cool to have one. That's number one.
Yeah. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Meaningwave Morning Show. It's the morning. We got a show. We got a show just for you on this beautiful morning, this beautiful Sunday, here at the Church of Meaning. The Meaningwave Morning Show. It's number 99. Who'd have thunk it? Wow.
In comparing sins, the way that people do, Theophrastus says those done out of desire are worse than those done out of anger.
Which is good philosophy.
The angry man seems to turn his back on reason out of a kind of pain and in a convulsion. But the man motivated by desire, who is mastered by pleasure, seems somehow more self-indulgent, less manly in his sins. Theophrastus is right and philosophically sound to say the sin committed out of pleasure deserves a harsher rebuke than the one committed out of pain. The angry man is more like a victim of wrongdoing, provoked by pain to anger. The other man rushes into wrongdoing on his own, moved to action by desire. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You could leave life right now. exist or don't care what happens to us? What would be the point of living in a world without gods or providence? But they do exist. They do care what happens to us. And everything a person needs to avoid real harm, they have placed within him. If there were anything harmful on the other side of death, they would have made sure that the ability to avoid it was within you. If it doesn't harm your character, how can it harm your life? Nature would not overlook such dangers through failing to recognize, or because it saw them but was powerless to prevent or correct them. To prevent or correct them. Nor would it ever, through inability or incompetence, make such a mistake as to let good and bad things happen indiscriminately to good and bad alike. Good and bad alike. Good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, wealth and poverty, all these happen to good and bad alike. Good and bad alike. Good and bad alike. Good and bad alike. But death and life, success and failure, pain and pleasure, all these happen to good and bad alike. And they are neither noble nor shameful, and hence they're neither good nor bad. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You could leave life right now. You could leave life right now. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. You could leave life right now. You could leave life right now.
Yeah, that's right, baby. You could, baby. You could get hit by a piano. You don't know. I wonder how many people have been killed by falling pianos in this world. It's probably more than Tom Hanks and his weak sauce disease. Probably more. Yeah. Hey. What's cracking, you beautiful babies? Good morning, cherry hazelnuts. Says, ooh, Los Angeles is dark and cool and full of fog rolling all around me. That's epic. Look out for, what's the opposite of a helper? What's the opposite of a helper? Look out for those hiding in the fog. Just in case they're lurking in the fog. What's up? Good morning, Switch Hero Alex. What up, Tachyonic Deer? Good morning. What up, RB12334? What up, fam? What up? What up, Morseland96? Hey, Don. Hey, you. Hey, what's cracking? How y'all doing today? How y'all doing? It's a beautiful Sunday to be alive. I woke up with a heart full of gratitude, baby. Heart full of gratitude. What are you grateful for today? I just woke up grateful for the day, you know? Woke up grateful today, and, my wife and son were lying next to me. He'd climbed into bed and sort of climbed on top of us, and it was very sweet. And I thought, oh, look at us. You know, once upon a time we just shared a bedroom, a single bedroom, you know? And we were forced to all sleep together in a tiny little bed. Because that's all we had. Now we've got this big old house in Texas. And sometimes Hercules just comes in and climbs in anyway and goes, do you remember when we were poor? Do you remember when we were poor? Yeah, I remember. Glad you do too. Glad you do too, young boy. That will hold you with stead. What up, DJ Vinyl Burns? Yeah, baby, we in Texas.
You know, my mother used to say, a long time ago, whenever there would be any really catastrophe that was in the movies or on the air, she would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers. She would say, always look for the helpers. There will always be helpers. You know, even just on the sidelines. That's why I think that if news programs could make a conscious effort of showing rescue teams, of showing medical people, anybody who is coming into a place where there's a tragedy, to be sure that they include that. Because if you look for the helpers, you'll know that there's hope.
RB1234 is grateful for good health. DJ Vinyl Burns is looking for hamburgers. Greg A. The Dawn Car, Uncertainty, Adventure, Getting After It, Transcendence and Guidance. Tachyonic Deer is grateful I didn't die in my sleep and I am alive. Yo, me too, baby. Morslin96 says, ooh, this sounds good. That's real. Hey, hey. Certain records, I'm like, how did I make this? I have no idea how I made this record. It sounds crazy. I have this vague memory now. I think I made it like quite early in the morning when I was, maybe I've been up all night or something. I was imagining I was making a trip-hop record in the future, in the East. I was making Eastern trip-hop in the future. I think that was it. Yeah. Prince Jabrika's XV, I'm grateful for the constant opportunities that God above gave me to reflect the love in my heart, unite unto my fellow man. That's nice. That's nice, Prince Jabrikas. I like that. Very lovely. RB1234 agrees, says amazing. That's wonderful. Yes, it is. Be humble. Be grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Yeah. Rest in peace, Anthony Bourdain.
I've been free to do whatever I want. To make the shows I want, anywhere I want, with whom I want, in any style I want. So I, at first I don't know any other way, and by now I won't have it any other way. Life is good. Why settle for less?
Be open to experience. Be willing to try new things. Don't have a rigid plan. Accept random acts of hospitality without judgment or fear. Don't be afraid to wander. Don't be afraid to eat a bad meal. You know, if you don't risk the bad meal, you'll never get the magical one. But I think most important, be humble, be grateful, be humble, be grateful, be humble, be grateful, be humble, be grateful, be humble, be
grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Be humble. Be grateful. Before I started traveling, I thought that the human race as a whole would turn on itself at any moment. You know, venal, petty, cruel, arbitrary. And it's true that all of those things exist in this world, but I meet mostly pretty nice people.
Doing the best they can, often under very, very difficult conditions. I met a lot of very nice people who've done very, very bad things that conflict with my deeply held conceptions of justice, or sexual equality, or acceptable practice, or views. There are a lot of gray areas in travel. But I think that on balance, the world is filled with people doing the best they can, you know? Best they can, you know? Be humble. Be grateful. 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 I've been fired many times in my cooking career. I was not a particularly good chef. I had a lot of problems at various points of my career with narcotics. You know, I accepted failure as a chef because I was at various times a bad chef.
Or even a bad person.
These days, if I fail, it's because I tried to do something and did not succeed. Or I just was not able to do what I hoped to do or wanted to do. But I would much rather that. I would much rather fail gloriously than not try. But I'm not interested in telling stories with competence. I'm looking to tell them with some style and originality and some creativity.
Rest in peace, Chandwick Boseman. That was very sad to read. You know. Shouts out to everybody doing their best. Shouts out to everyone doing, you know, the maximum effort to make themselves the best them they can be. You don't know how long you got on this level. Experience. You don't know. You don't know, baby. You could leave life right now. You leave life right now. If you leave life right now, you leaving anything on the table? That's the question. You leaving anything on the table? Don't be leaving shit on the table, baby. There's so much on the table. There's like free money. Piles of it all over the place. Grab that shit. What up, quackaroony? Good morning. Good morning to Champion 13. What up, family? Good to see you. Good to see you, baby. It's a beautiful day to be alive here at the peak of a good human days to be alive. We got a gang of blessed records, because we just got a gang of blessed records. Happy birthday to Champion 13's wife. Happy birthday, Jessica.
The trap flies. Also, the lovely embroideries are worn by women as traps for men from a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. And I want to consider the web as something playful. You see, there are so many ways of looking at it. And you will find that all these ways are right, but what we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. Of the view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. There are people, for example, who can see the web as a trap and get stuck with that. There are people to whom existence is simply hateful. They see it as nothing but a ghastly mistake. The Lord really erred when he created this world, because he arranged it in such a way that everything lives by eating something else. And what I'm doing is I'm describing a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. I'm not exactly philosophizing, I'm describing a point of view. You can look at life in such a way that the whole thing is this ghastly mistake. For example, there is no such thing as genuine kindness or love. Everybody is really pretending that they're loving other people in order to get some advantage from them. And indeed, there is a point of view which occurs in certain forms of paranoia, where people don't seem to be real. They are mechanisms. And you can think that out quite intensely with a good deal of intelligence. After all, if you start from a good old Darwinian or Freudian basis and see that man is a material machine and that the consciousness of man is simply a very involved and complicated form of chemistry, well, then this awful mechanical thing is Frankenstein that everybody is. They come around and they say, well, I'm alive. I'm a human being. I have a heart. I love, I hate, I have problems. I feel. And you feel like saying, come off it. You're just a monster. And you put on the civilized act because really you're just a set of teeth on the end of a tube. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. What we need is the fullness of the view. From a certain point of view. From a certain point of view. Got a ganglion behind those teeth, which you call your brain or your alleged mind. And this thing is really basically there for two purposes. One, to be cunning enough to get something to eat, to put down the tube, and the other, you know what, Mr. Freud, libido. And everything else, you see, can be construed as an elaborate, subtle way of pretending that that's not really what you want to do, but you do. But you put on a great show. Now, some people, according to this view, get mixed up. They so repress that what they really want to do is to eat and to screw. They get involved in higher things that are the masks for these activities and think that that's the real purpose of life. And then they become what's called neurotic. Because they get involved in being pure camouflage. So that's what's called escaping from the facts. Not looking at life, not looking at reality correctly.
with the things our senses experience, especially those that entice us with pleasure or frighten us with pain, or are loudly trumpeted by pride. To understand those things, how stupid, contemptible, grimy, decaying, dead they are. That's what our intellectual powers are for.
Speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world and the memory of them in time, of them in time. Speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world and the memory of them in time, of them in time.
Understand what those people really amount to, whose opinions and voices constitute fame, and what dying is. And if you look at it in the abstract and break down your imaginary ideas of it by logical analysis, you realize that it's nothing but a process of nature, which only children can be scared of. And not just a process of nature,
but a necessary one.
Which all of them vanish, the objects in the world and the memory of them in time, of them in time. Speed with which all of them vanish, the objects in the world and the memory of them in time, of them in time.
He does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. How man grasps God with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. How man grasps God with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does. How man grasps God with what part of himself he does so, and how that part is conditioned when he does.
In time. Make some noise for Marcus Aurelius. Yeah, baby, come on. Dedication is what you need. That's right, Matt Crittenden. That's right, if you want to be a record break. Yeah. Quackaroony says, it just occurred to me from a certain point of view. Plants are the only productive organisms as they store the sun's energy. All animals are essentially parasites from this POV. Trees come out of the air. 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 Yo, there's stuff to do other than store sun and create sun. There's lots of stuff needs doing. Gee whiz. I mean, yeah, the sun does that. The sun's very good.
So,
shouts out to the sun. Sun doing a lot of stuff. You know, I'm doing a lot of stuff too, by Jove. So are you.
So this is a view of the world as a system of mutual exploitation and of maximal selfishness. Now, it's a very profitable view to explore.
Sun ain't making no Meaningwave.
Everybody should do in
a lifetime sometimes. A lifetime sometimes.
One is to consider death. To observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death. And to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. That is a very gloomy thing for contemplation. But it's like manure. Just as manure fertilizes the plants and so on. So the contemplation of death and the acceptance of death is very highly generative of creative life. You get wonderful things out of that. And the other thing to contemplate is to follow the possibility of the idea that you are totally selfish. That you don't have a good thing to be said for you at all. You are a complete, utter rascal. You are a complete, utter rascal. Now, the Christians have avoided this. Because although they say in their Episcopalian form of confession that we have erred and strayed from thy ways like lost sheep, and we have followed too much the devices and desires of our own hearts, too much, you know. We have offended against thy holy laws. We have left undone those things we ought to have done, and done those things which we ought not to have done, and there is no health in us. But it ought to be different. And we're going to do our best to amend with the help of God's grace. That is a real con act. If you equate health with genuine love and perfect unselfishness, then in that sense there is no health in us when we look at ourselves from this point of view. Consider death. To observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death. And to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up. Never. Consider death. To observe skulls and skeletons. Consider death. And to wonder what it will be like to go to sleep and never wake up.
Never. Never. Woo! Trees coming out of the air. Make some noise for Fred. Yeah, guy. Fred. What a man. What a man. It's
a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Just a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Would you be mine? Would you be mine?
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Just a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Would you be mine?
Would you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like
you.
I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood. So let's make the most of this
Beautiful day.
Since we're together,
We might as well stay.
might as well stay. Might as well stay. Might as well. Might as well. Might as well. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Just a beautiful day for a neighbor.
Would you be mine?
Would you be mine?
Hey,
It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood.
a beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Would you be mine? I've always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood with you. So
Let's make the most of this
beautiful day. Beautiful day.
since we're together. Might as well
say.
might as well say.
Might as well
Might
say.
as well say.
Hey,
Might as well.
hey, here comes Hercules.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hooray, hooray. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hooray, hooray. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hooray, hooray. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day in the neighborhood. Hooray.
Sing it.
Proud of you.
Won't you be mine? Woo! Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be?
My neighbor.
Hey, good morning, neighbor. How you doing, neighbor? What's up, neighbor? That was Akira the Don and Fred Rogers, aka Mr. Rogers, with a special guest appearance from Young
Seemed to me that
Hercules. Young
who lives
Hercules.
in the West.
Yo, Yo, we can't be talking over the start of Mr. Peterson doing the talk. Anyway, how you all doing out there? What are you talking about in the chat? Piss your account. I'm going to be self-aware today, see how much time I spend thinking about negative things for no good reason. That's a good practice. Watching your own mind. Yeah, it's a good thing to do. Good things to do. Watch that mind, see what it's up to. See what it's up to. And regulate that motherfucker. What up, Jacob?
It does seem to me that anyone who lives in the West, in the Western culture, this time in history, and in this place, and who isn't simultaneously grateful for that, is half blind. At least.
At least.
Because it's never been better than this.
Never better than this.
And it could be so much worse.
Much worse.
It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse.
Much worse.
It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse.
Much worse.
So much worse. So much worse.
There was a paper published in Nature not so long ago stating, for example, that an area twice the size of the US has greened in the last 15 years. There's more forests in the Northern Hemisphere than there were 100 years ago, and more forests in India and China than there were 30 years ago. And then this has gone along with a massively improved standard of living. The child mortality rate in Africa is now the same as it was in Europe in 1952, which is a statistic that I just regard as absolutely miraculous. The rate of poverty is diminishing at an amazing rate, right? Between 2000 and 2012, we have poverty.
It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. It's never been better than this.
Make some noise, baby.
And it could be so much worse.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Shouts out to you.
So much worse.
Yeah.
It's
Kinda
pretty hard
harder.
on the Marxists.
Hard on the Marxists.
Even though there is inequality, inequality is a problem. First of all, it doesn't look like inequality can be placed at the feet of capitalists. It seems to me to be a far more intractable problem than that. Second, it's clear that the poor are getting richer despite the fact of inequality.
Yeah.
And third, and this is hard on the environmentalists, I think, is that it turns out that if you get people's income up to about $5,000 a year in terms of gross domestic product, they actually start to care about the environment, which I suppose is because they're not worried about dying instantly that day or that week. And so we seem to be in this perverse situation for a pessimist where we can make people wealthy. We could make the world a better place simultaneously.
It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. It's never been better than this. And it could be so much worse. So much worse.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Yeah.
And it's highly likely that it will be so much worse. Because for most of human history, so much worse is the norm.
What's up, baby?
I view social media as a mirror. I think what people are putting out is an incredible indicator of what's inside of them. So right now there's a lot of political anxiety. There's a lot of ideological anxiety. And so what we're seeing is a lot of judgment. We consume as animals. And I think if one feels overwhelmed, they should stop consuming. Stop consuming. I don't put social media consumption in a very different place than the films and music and books that one reads. The collective replies to people's angst is no different than Kurt Cobain's singular angst. And I think we're forgetting the upside. There's so much love and greatness going on every day. Forgetting the upside. Humans find what they're looking for. We're forgetting the upside. There's so much love and greatness going on every day. Forgetting the upside. Humans find what they're looking for. I think it's great. I don't care about social media. I really don't. I care about humans communicating with each other. I'm fascinated by communication, and I'm fascinated that we now have a collective ability to communicate at a scale that we've never seen before. And I think right now people are focusing on the downside of that. You're signing into Twitter to find a fight, or to find somebody to fight with, to see some negativity. You're gonna find it. I think if you go to Twitter or Instagram to find happiness and positivity, it's there at scale. And I think we're forgetting the upside. There's so much love and greatness going on every day. Forgetting the upside. Humans find what they're looking for. We're forgetting the upside. There's so much love and greatness going on every day. Forgetting the upside. Humans find what they're looking for.
I've been lucky. I've been blessed. I've had a life that I would not trade with anyone in the world. When you talk about Ramadi, that was the highlight of my life. Because I was leading men in combat, which was something that I always wanted to do. And something that I felt that I was destined to do. And when I was in that situation, I knew that. I don't look back and say, oh, I wish I would have enjoyed that. No, I knew it then. This is it. This is it. This is it. This is what you have been waiting for your whole life, and what you really have been preparing for your whole life. And I was lucky.
You know, I mean, of course we've gotten soft as a culture in the U.S. Because the U.S. has had an incredible 200-year run, right? Like, this is just what happens. And that's a great thing. That means there's been enormous amounts of prosperity. But let's not be naive. I mean, people literally complain when somebody gives them the wrong amount of, like, extra cream in a Starbucks $6 coffee. My lack of interest in complaining is so high, and when I watch what people complain about, it breaks my heart because they completely lack perspective. I genuinely believe my happiness and optimism comes from my perspective. Even in political unrest times like right now, a lot of people are very bent out of shape, but the reality is that it's just never been better. It's just never been better to be a human being. It's just never been better. That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality. It's just never been think the way people look at the world right now is actually the quickest tell to who they are. If you think it sucks or it's bad, you have losing pessimistic DNA. And if you think it's awesome and phenomenal, you have optimistic winning DNA. And I believe that to be true. That's where we're at. We're beating ourselves up. Like, everybody sucks at something, right? Like, we all have shortcomings and we all have strengths. And for me, it's like, why don't we just audit that? Like, why don't we just look at it that way and be like, all right, well, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at that. Like, and then I only focus what I'm good at, right? Like, I don't dwell that I can't fix shit around the house. I call somebody to fix it. Like, I'm not a man. I don't give a fuck. I don't get it. I also think it's awesome that I'm so emotionally stable and I'm the emotional backbone of everybody. Is that what a dude's supposed to do? Like these cliches, these stereotypes, they're so silly. I don't judge myself. I'm fully in love with myself. It's just never been better to be a human being. It's just never been better. That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality. It's just never been better.
Page and Greaser. Aggressor or whatever it is. Yeah.
It's just never been better.
Little shit. Yes.
That's just the truth. That's just data. That's reality.
Yeah, reality. Just that's reality, baby. It's a beautiful day to be alive.
Let's go. Sit down.
Humans are amazing. That guy in the Matrix who said humans were a parasite, whatever, that was the baddie. That was the baddie. That's the baddie point of view, you dickhead.
Wish that there was some weird genie.
What's wrong with these people?
That could take us back into time. Whoop. So that every one of you could live one fucking day in your great-great-grandparents' shoes and understand how fucking good you have it.
Greaser. Good you have it.
Like, if you really, really understood.
Whoop.
I'm not naive to what's happening in our society. Let me just say this very clear so everybody gets it through their fucking dome. Go. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the best. This is the best. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. Fascinated by this. Fascinated by fucking mindset. It's a binary decision if you're gonna be positive or negative about shit. When you bet on optimism, when you're on the offense, when you are playing towards intangibles, you do something super duper interesting. You start suffocating excuses. If you asked me what the number one thing is that I'm thankful for that my parents gave me, taking me from a communist country and moving me to the US, parenting me well, roof and clothes. If you ask me the number one thing I wake up every morning and thank that my parents did, I never saw either one of them complain about jack shit. And it basically created learned behavior for me. I am incapable of actually complaining about shit. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the best. This is the best. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the best. We have it the best. And all I see is people sitting around dwelling around dumb shit, what they don't have, instead of focusing on what they do have. The internet is a fucking miracle. It's a fucking miracle. The internet is a fucking miracle. It's a fucking miracle. There was no summer whistle for your great-grandparents. When it was 9 p.m., it was dark and cold outside. We just get used to shit so fast. And in our speed of getting used to how fucking awesome it is, I'm just desperate for you to not lose perspective. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. This is the best. This is the best. This is the greatest year to ever be alive in the history of mankind. Both my grandfathers had the same exact thing that I had, and because they were Jewish in communist Russia post-World War II, their communism put them both in jail for 10 years in Siberia. Like, just think about that. Timing, opportunity. Yes. Life is binary. It's either offense or defense. You are either sitting in your seat right now on the offense or you're not. There is no fucking half pregnant. There's no in between. You're either this or that.
I had good grandparents, a good mother and father, a good sister, good teachers, good servants, relatives, friends, nearly everything good. And that I never lost control of myself with any of them. Although I had it in me to do that, and I might have easily. But thanks to the gods, I was never put in that position. And so I escaped that test. I was never put in that position, and so I escaped that test. And that I wasn't longer raised by my granddad's girlfriend. I didn't lose my virginity too early and didn't enter adulthood until it was time. Hell, I put it off that I had someone as a ruler and father who could keep me from arrogance, to live in a palace without bodyguards, without fancy dresses or torches or statues or such like show, that you can live much like a regular person, not remiss in action or careless or ruler when carrying out official obligations. I had the kind of brother I did, one whose character challenged me to improve my own, one whose love and affection enriched my whole life, that my children were born stupid or physically deformed, that I wasn't more talented in rhetoric or poetry. They could have consumed me if I had seen progress, might never have given them up. That I confide on the people who brought me up, the honors that they seemed to want early on, instead of putting them off since they were still young, with the hope that I'd do it later. That I knew Apollonius and Rusticus and Maximus, that I was shown clearly and often what it would be like to live as nature requires. Thanks to the gods, they did all they could through the gifts of the inspiration to ensure that I could live as nature demands. Thanks to the gods, they did all they could through the gifts of the inspiration to ensure that I could live as nature demands. And if I fail, it's no one's fault but mine, 'cause I didn't pay attention to what they told me, to what they taught me, practically step by step, that my body has held up for for so long through such a life that I never laid a finger on Benedicta or Theodotus. Even later I was overcome by passion. I recovered even though I often quarreled with Rusticus. I never did nothing that I regretted later. I know my mother died young. She spent her last years with me. And if I ever wished to help a man in need, I was never told that I had not the means. That I was never put in that position myself, of having to take something from somebody else. That I had the wife I do, obedient, loving, humble. That my children had competent teachers, and for the remedy shown me in dreams. When I was coughing blood, when my head was spinning, spinning, spinning. When I had an inclination to philosophy, I didn't fall into the hands of any sophist. That I didn't waste my time on rises of history, or in the resolution of syllogisms, or occupy myself about an investigation of appearances in the heaven. For all these things require the help of the gods and fortune. Thanks to the gods, they did all they could through their gifts, their help, their inspiration, to ensure that I could live as nature demands. Thanks to the gods, they did all they could through their gifts, the help, the inspiration, to ensure that I could live as nature demands. Thanks to the gods. Thanks to the gods. Yeah. Thanks to the gods, they did all they could through the gifts, the help, the inspiration, to ensure that I could live as nature demands.
Yeah, make some noise, baby. That was the Meaningwave morning show for this morning. That was number 99. 99 problems, and ain't one of them as bad as the shit my granddad was having to deal with. Bap, bap, bap. Thank you all for being here. Hope you have a blessed day. Blessed, blessed, blessed day. Thank you to everyone who's supporting the wave. The wave, the wave. God bless you all. 100 tomorrow. I don't know what we're doing to celebrate it yet. I have not yet decided. What do you think? What are your smart ideas? What should we do to celebrate 100 Meaningwave morning shows? We're doing 100. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it? 100 mornings in a row. That's a lot of mornings. Shouts out to Tom Hanks. Nice one, son. How's Greece? We're gonna find you, you know. Yeah, do realize that, you fuck. Shouts out to all the kids in the car on the way to school. Get out of there quick. Storm the Bastille. Sherry Hazelnut says, I vote for 100 to be songs about sunshine. Yeah, the sun could never be pussy. He always come up. He'll sit right there even if you pull your gun out. That's a good song about the sun. Sun, sun. Sun, sun. Yeah, sun, sun. Anyway, I got a day to go get after. I'm going to go get after this day. You go get after your day, baby. Go forth and be great. That was the Meaningwave morning show. We had a whole bunch of songs about gratitude. or context for gratitude this morning. That was nice, huh? That was nice. That ain't nice. I don't know what is. Yo. Magnificent, says Maculus. Quite. Good point, well made. If you want to support the wave and these endeavors, these epic live shows, twice a day, is this ridiculous? You can do many things. You can go to the Bandcamp, download some music. You can become a member of the Patreon. You can make a donation via the link below. You can go to meaningwave.com and buy yourself a nice Meaningwave beanie like this one, or a nice Meaningwave t-shirt like this one. You know, you can do all those things. Hey. You could paint on the road. Apparently the roads are open season for painting messages on nowadays, so that's good news. Go paint your own message. Get some big road paint and paint Meaningwave exists on a road. Painted so big that it could be seen from space by those people in space. They'll be like, oh blimey, they've only invented Meaningwave now. Quick, we better get down there and give them the flying cars. Give them the flying cars. Yeah. PhysioCast says, great way to start the day with gratitude. Yes, it is. It's a great way to start every day with gratitude. When you wake in the morning, tell yourself, it's a beautiful day to be alive. Woo! We'll be on YouTube at 7 p.m. CT. Like we always are. And if you need somewhere to hang out, there's Meaningwave Radio 24/7. 24/7 Meaningwave Radio on YouTube. It's there. Talk back. Michael Jackson was in and said 3, 2, 1. Bye 5. That's a bye 5. Yes! That's that, baby. Thank you for being here.